Alright, you know the drill. Let's get started. Starting with... Shrek 4 was surprisingly good. It's definitely a lot more better than Shrek the Third in terms of quality. And this movie actually had high stakes for this whole movie. I love the plot about how Shrek is like, wants to go back to his old life and then goes back and signs this agreement with this guy and goes back to time, but then realizes how much his life is already perfect. It was pretty cool. Basically, they gave Shrek a midlife crisis. And I will admit, the plot is actually a lot more better than Shrek the Third, honestly. Every character is likable from the second movie and the first. Animation is pretty good. I love how they made Fiona in this movie kind of a badass girl in this. I mean, yes, she was a badass girl in the first and second movie. But they actually made her a leader of this, like, Shrek colony, like, ogre colony, you know what I mean? So, overall, Shrek 4 is decently good, and a lot more better than the third movie, honestly. Alright, don't hate me, but I didn't have high hopes for Megamind. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the animation at the time, because I felt like it made me feel like it was too realistic human, honestly. But after watching it, I owe this movie a huge apology. I'm so sorry, man. This movie is amazing, man. The animation, the characters, the story, it all wraps everything so perfectly. I love the message of this movie. The only thing that's holding yourself back is yourself, not your powers. The duality of man, if you will. I also love what this movie did. It did the same thing with Shrek. Instead of an actual typical superhero movie, it flips the script and does whatever it wants to do, which I really appreciate about this movie and Shrek. Like Shrek, it's not a typical fairy tale. It makes fun of Disney and a lot of more stuff and doesn't be typical all the time, which I appreciate these two movies for doing. This movie is also surprisingly deep. Like, very, very deep. Like, very deep. It has some dark scenes in there and some really good humor. And it spawned a lot of memes. Yeah, including that one. Oh, God. Oh, God. Overall, Megamind is a really good time. The villain's good. The actual lessons are actually perfect. And Megamind himself was very likable and very funny. But, let's not talk about the sequel. We don't want to know the sequel. We don't want to talk about the sequel. We don't even want to know that the sequel even exists. We just want to shoot it right out of existence. Yeah, but overall, Megamind is a good movie, and I really enjoyed it. And probably one of the best DreamWorks movies of all time. Kung Fu Panda 2. Dude. Where do I even begin with this movie? It's incredible. It's probably the best sequel, like, of all time. Maybe right next to Shrek. Like, it's so good. Yeah, the moments are still pretty good. The funny moments are pretty funny. But I think this movie is different from the first one. Oh, you're probably asking, why? Like, how? It's a Kung Fu Panda movie. It should be the exact same. It's a sequel. Well, you're right about that, but I think this movie is edged to adults. And you're probably asking, why? Why is it for adults? Am I going insane? I might be going insane, but there's a scene in the movie where Poe is having flashbacks. Because there's a symbol on the peacock about a traumatic tragedy back in the day when he was a baby. And then he gets lost and comes across this sheep lady and then finds his inner peace and learns out what actually happened to him as a kid. This was during the Holocaust genocide, the worst era of all time, and his mother was sadly killed. The way Poe learns all of this in a flashback was so genuinely well done. I cannot express that enough. The flashback, the music was all perfect. It just perfect. And the action scenes? Somebody pass my tea. They are genuinely well animated. The choreography, just everything was so perfect about the sequel. And the theme about finding your inner peace was genuinely so touching. And the message being that you should let go of the past because your story might not have a great start, but the rest of the story defines you. And I gotta say, this message is so well done in this movie. Also, some of the 2D animation is actually pretty good. So, overall, Kung Fu Panda 2 might actually be the best one in the whole franchise. And I'm not the only one. People actually agree with me on this assessment. So, overall, pretty good movie. Probably one of the best sequels in the world from DreamWorks. Puss in Boots was not that good of a movie. I mean, as a spin-off as in the Shrek franchise, I think it did its part, but it's kind of boring some parts, honestly, which I find surprising because the sequel of this does the complete opposite, but we'll get back on that later. Everything is boring about this movie. I cannot name one thing about it because I literally forgot about it when I was watching it. That's just how forgettable everything was about it. But I will be honest, the one thing I actually liked about this movie was Humpty and Puss's whole friendship thingamabob. That scene actually had depth and actually had character growth, which I literally just watched a talking cat get portrayed by an egg, like a talking egg. Like, what? But sadly, after that happens, the movie is sadly boring. I don't remember this, woman. I think her name is Kitty Soft Paws, but I didn't really care for anyone in this movie, honestly. It's not bad, but, forgettable. Overall, Puss in Boots is not really a bad movie. It's just kind of forgettable, honestly. So, yeah. It's get out of here, please, and thank you. Madagascar 3 was a really good movie, in my opinion. For, the 20 minutes of the whole movie, and then everything was just kind of boring, in my opinion. I cannot literally just stress enough how much I love this opening scene right here with the gang going on a casino heist to get the penguins back. Such a clever way to open the movie, am I right? But as a Madagascar 3, it wasn't as good as I hoped it'd be after the great stuff after Madagascar 2. There is still a lot of stuff to appreciate about this movie, like how this tiger guy has PTSD after his stunts gone wrong. And look, it's not a bad movie, honestly. It's just not as good as the other two, okay? But overall, it's still a pretty good movie if you don't take it that seriously. I actually like the villain in this movie. She was actually a Fred in this movie. Her name is Dubois. And I love how she's just a thing that cannot die. She literally has the ability to walk through walls. And yes, jokes are still pretty good, but it's not gonna be the rest of the Madagascar franchise. I'm sorry. I don't really have much to say about Madagascar 3. It's a pretty good movie, but compared to the rest of the two, this is probably one of the worst ones. But overall, still pretty enjoyable. Rise of the Guardians. There's a reason this movie flopped in the box office. And kind of a good reason, honestly. This movie is okay. It's not good, but it's fine. I really wanted to like this movie because everybody I know loves this movie, but I'm sorry. I tried to love this, but I just couldn't bring it to myself. I mean, this movie is kind of Inside Out in a way, where people believe in Santa, but don't believe in Jack Frost, because he does if you believe in something, it exists. But if you don't believe in something, it doesn't exist. Jack Frost doesn't exist. Which, honestly, is a great idea. That if nobody believes in you, you don't exist. I love the Russian Santa Claus guy. I thought he was pretty cool. I also love Jack Frost's whole story about how he saved his sister from drowning in ice, but he sacrificed himself and he died. Very dark. And a fun fact, this movie actually almost killed DreamWorks, from shutting down because of how bad it flopped. And the animation was kind of beautiful. And it kind of sucks that this movie flopped because on its own, it's not that bad of a film. It's just kind of forgettable. It's kind of in the situation with Treasure Planet where the movie isn't actually that bad but flopped in the box office. It's in that situation where the movie's actually good but flopped in the box office. Overall, Rise of the Guardians isn't a bad film. You can still get some enjoyment out of it. It was just kind of disappointing that I didn't even like this movie. I really wanted to like this movie, but I don't know, I couldn't bring it to myself, man. This isn't really my type of movie. But it's fine, okay? Alright, please do not hate me, but I personally feel like this is probably one of the funniest DreamWorks movies of all time. And it's actually a pretty good movie. For the most part. I mean, it's a typical adventure road trip movie where they have to go find tomorrow. Which I think is a location that actually exists. We'll have to figure out on that part on the cruise too. But for now, it's fine. This movie's fine. This movie will only be remembered for the Grug memes this rhymes with grug. Or this is like rug. I call it a rug. Rhymes with grug. My personal favorite bit from the movie is that Grug just wants his wife's mom to die, which I personally found that was the funniest part. I personally think the jokes actually carried this movie to a whole, because if they weren't in this movie, I would just say this was a typical adventure movie with some goofy caveman, but actually, it was pretty funny. This movie does try to go for a deep message about how change isn't that bad, but let's be honest, nobody gave a about the lesson and just wanted to see goofy cavemen. Honestly, this movie isn't that bad. As long as you turn your brain off, you're perfectly okay to watch this movie. Overall, The Croads is probably the funniest DreamWorks movie of all time, but as in story-wise, it's not the greatest when it comes to telling the story. Speed. I am Speed. Oh wait, wrong movie. Turbo is honestly a garbage movie in my opinion, because the movie wasn't even bad funny, it was just bad. I honestly don't know why this movie even had a big cast from the beginning. You got Ryan Reynolds as Turbo, Samuel Jackson as his brother, and Snoop Dogg of all people. And this movie is a waste of time. Just go watch Ratatouille. This is the same plot from Ratatouille. An animal tries to follow his dreams because he's an animal. Or no. He tries to follow his dreams, but can't because he's an animal, but then learns to follow your dreams and stuff. This is basically Ratatouille. Just go watch Ratatouille. It has a better message, and it's so much better. I don't even know what the writers of this movie were even doing when they wrote this. This is actually terrible. On the positive, though, the animation is actually pretty good, but aside from that, this is actually a terrible movie, and probably one of the worst DreamWorks movies of all time. And it's super forgettable. The only thing this movie will be remembered for is the memes that came out of this movie, because DreamWorks loves to make memes out of this movie. Like, I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. Hang on. This movie just loves to create memes for some reason. It just tries to, but just fails at doing that. It honestly feel like DreamWorks wanted to copy Ratatouille, and they did succeed and made a lot of money. So overall, Turbo is a terrible DreamWorks movie, and probably one of the more forgettable ones, honestly, right next to Boss Baby. Jesus Christ, dude. Thank God for this movie, dude. This movie is genuinely, probably one of the best DreamWorks movies of all time. And I'm shocked, because I thought this was going to be a preschool movie. But thank God it wasn't, because it was actually tolerable and funny. The whole thing about this movie, it's about time travel. And I love how Peabody used it to teach Sherman about history. It was actually pretty cool. But if I have to be honest, there was one thing that really downed this movie a bit. And that is the girl and the principal Karen. They dropped this movie by a score, though, because you know what I want to do to them? You know what I want to do to them? Kill them. I want to kill them. I mean, Penny doesn't do much to the plot. She's a typical bully girl, and Sherman hates her at first, but as the movie starts to progress, they actually start to kind of accept each other as friends, so yeah. Overall, this movie is not that bad. It's actually a pretty enjoyable movie. Unless you hate history. Then, overall, still a fun watch. How to Train Your Dragon is probably the best sequel in the world from DreamWorks, honestly. It's perfect. The animation is good, the soundtrack absolutely goes hard, and the story got dark. Really dark. This movie is about purpose. Learning how to accept another death. And so much more. Rest in peace, Stoic. You will not be forgotten. I'm not kidding when I say that scene actually got me tearing up a bit, because how much Stoic was developing in the first movie. And honestly, I can't really blame Toothless, because he was being mind controlled and he didn't know that he actually killed Stoic, so I can't really blame him there. By the way, yes, I know about what Shuffle Production did say about this movie. He said it was a bad movie, and I strongly disagree, but no offense to him, obviously. Sure, there are problems with the movie, but the problems don't do anything to the story, really. It's still a very good movie if you ignore the problems. By the way, yes, Hiccup and Astrid are still a good couple to this day, and don't judge me otherwise. Also, this movie did a really good job at expanding the world and the story so much. In conclusion, How to Train Your Dragon 2 is a really good sequel in my opinion, and one of DreamWorks' best. So around this era, DreamWorks were kind of struggling in the box office. They had a lot of flops like Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Turbo, and Rise of the Guardians. They really wanted this movie to do well, and it did kinda well. But I also get the feeling that DreamWorks just made this movie to get more money and to save the studio, which it kinda did save the studio from going bankrupt. I am honestly shocked that DreamWorks had the balls to make a 20-hit movie based on the 20-hit game Penguins of Madagascar for the Nintendo DS. The movie was alright. Look, I think this movie did okay as a standalone spin-off movie to the Madagascar franchise. This movie had goofy penguins in it. What more can you want? Animation's pretty good and pretty funny at times. Oh yeah, the story. The story is nothing to write home about. I mean, aside from Private's arc about wanting to join the Penguins group and be taken seriously. But I honestly couldn't take his arc very seriously. I mean, this is the Penguins of Madagascar, for God's sake. And the villain in the movie? I'm not joking when I say this. He's a goddamn octopus. So the villain of the movie, Dave, wants to turn all the penguins of Madagascar into zombie-looking creatures to destroy the world. Yes. That's his whole plan. His plan is to make penguins bad guys and turn them into a monster. Why? This movie doesn't even explain why he wants to do this. He just wants to be evil for the sake of being evil. That's probably the reason I think he wants to be evil. Again, this movie spawned a lot of memes, like this one.
Kaboom! Yes, we go! Kaboom!
Yeah, but aside from the memes of this movie, the movie's actually alright. I wouldn't say this is the best movie of all time from Madagascar, but it's okay. Home was probably the more forgettable DreamWorks movies, honestly. Well, I can see why some people might like this movie because the humor is actually pretty good. It's actually kind of bad when it comes to a story. And this movie was just for nothing. You want me to explain why this was for nothing? Because there's a thing called a Glord. He's considered a bad guy, but then at the end, the plot twist is he's just an actual peaceful alien. So the actual plot in the whole movie was for nothing. I do love the duo. They do have funny moments and actual moments, but everything was kind of mid, honestly. The humor was the only thing that carried this movie to a bit. And while I'm not saying this is like a bad movie, that like the worst thing in the planet Earth right next to Emoji Movie, it's also not the best. It's kind of forgettable. So overall, Home isn't a bad movie, honestly. It's forgettable. And it's not like it was bad anyway. It was like the humor actually got me sometimes. But it was just so forgettable compared to the rest of the other DreamWorks movies. Kung Fu Panda 3 was actually the best movie in the franchise, in my opinion. I don't know why, but I genuinely love this movie so much. It's got some great storytelling. It's got the dad. Po finally discovers who his dad is, and they have to go to the panda village to make Po learn how to do the chi, which is like magical power that pandas can apparently do in this universe. But then another plot twist happens. They actually don't know how to do the cheese, so this thing was just kind of like a liar reveal type of thing. And I personally feel like this is the funniest Kung Fu Panda movie of all time. And I can say this for sure, the animation is just so good. DreamWorks were kind of itching to change up their style, which thank God they did, because the style of this movie was really good. I guess the villain was alright in this movie. He's not as intimidating as Shin or like Tai Long, but he was alright, and I guess J.K. Simmons did an actual good job at voicing him. The emotional damage was pretty good, but I think Kung Fu Panda 2 did it a little better because we learned Po's backstory. Really dark. Overall, Kung Fu Panda 3 was pretty good.
Hey, I'm not giving up today. There's nothing getting...
Trolls. Do I even have to say anything? Look, I really want to get this out of the way because I don't want to waste your time with this movie. This movie is garbage. Movie bad, and that's it. Like, everything is garbage. Characters are not likable in the slightest. The story is not even good. The animation is good, but that doesn't change the fact that your story is kind of bad. And, like, the whole movie's... everything's bad about this movie. Why did this even get a sequel? Why is there 3 of these movies? There shouldn't even be a 3rd one at all. Or scratch that. There shouldn't even be a 2nd one at all. Why? Why do they even exist? Who actually wants these? Who at DreamWorks actually wants these movies? Instead of actually making sequels that people actually want, like Over the Hedge and, like, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, or even Rise of the Guardians. But nope. DreamWorks wanted that ching, ching, ching money because it's a dollar sign. And they want money. And that's the worst part. This next movie is also a cash grab. But I think it's a little better than this, because at least it had effort into it. Not saying it's a good movie, but it had effort into it. So overall, and this is not surprising, Trolls is a really bad movie, and I don't really care for anything that happens in this movie. I don't like anything in this movie. Everything that they do in this movie was pointless, and it's just terrible overall.
The world needs now.
What the hell is even this movie? I'm not even joking to you. This movie just made me question my insanity right now. It's not even like it's a funny bad movie, honestly. It's just not even funny at all. This movie only has one joke, and I'm not even kidding to you. They dragged this out for the entire movie. You want to know what the joke is? You want to know what the joke is? It's a baby in a suit, and he talks because he's a baby. But this movie, compared to the sequel, it's a whole lot more better. Certainly not a good movie. Hell no, it's not even nowhere close. But it's a little better than the sequel. We'll get back on that later. I don't even know what the hell happened in this movie. It literally did not explain anything. It was just imagination stuff, and it's like this baby and this guy named Tim. They gotta go stop this evil thing. They gotta go stop puppies, and this guy who wants to make puppies a popular thing, because apparently babies and puppies are mortal enemies in this movie. What? That doesn't make sense. No one is gonna give up their baby just for a puppy. Like, what the are we even doing? Look, if you just want to put on something for your kids, this is definitely the thing for you. Like, it's very bad. The jokes are terrible. It's basically just baby jokes that babies can probably handle. Like, butt baby jokes and, like, so much more. Overall, The Boss Baby is not a good movie at all, but it's a very enjoyable movie if you don't take it too seriously. And the sequel, we'll talk about that. Alright, I'm tired. I don't want to keep editing, and I'll save the movies for the rest. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And part 3 is going to be a while to come out.